Hello and welcome to a very special episode of Real Hawk Talk. I am Brian Nemhauser and it's here. I can't honestly believe it's here. I feel like I've run full speed into a wall. Like I didn't see it coming, but it's there. And at my age, when I run full speed into things, it doesn't do much damage anyway because I can't go that fast anymore. But the Seahawks prediction show is here, which means we are only a few days away from game week. Dayna O'Gorman, Nathan Ernst, Evan Hill, all going to be here for the first game of the season. We're going to have some fun on Ring of Honor dinner next week. So that's going to be fun. But tonight we've got, we have got the Octobox. We've got all 8 folks from the crew. The only person missing is Will Hart, who does a lot of our shorts as well. And Will kind of does that in his own world and does an amazing job. But let me bring in everybody here. You should know most of them. You may not know all of them. So Nathan Ernst at Nathan E11, Evan Hill at Evan Hill HB, Dayna O'Gorman at Dayna OG, Jeff Simmons at Real Jeff Simmons, Deryck Gebe at DERYCKG_. He's still rocking the underscore. Braden, BRAYDEN. You can find him, I think, at C with a lot of E's, Hawks on Twitter, who does a bunch of stuff for us here, including some shorts and reels and other things, running the Real Hawk Talk account. And then the man, the myth, Josh Cashman. Keep an eye on his backgrounds. You never know what might show up next. So folks, if you haven't been here before for a prediction show, it's a little chaotic. That's kind of the idea. You can't do an 8-person show without a little bit of chaos. What we're going to do is we're going to go through every game of the Seahawks season, and we are going to tell you our predictions for each game. And then we're going to roast each other for why we're completely wrong or why we're completely right. And then we also have some prop predictions, things like how many receiving yards JSN will have and how many all-pros will the Seahawks have, and things of that nature. So we'll get into all that. It's going to be a longer than normal show. There will not be patron questions tonight, so those will be held for next week. And then next week, we get into actual normal NFL regular season weekly rhythm. So with that, let me at least give everybody a chance to say hello. Josh, man, it's been a minute. What have you been up to?
I've been just doing my thing, working, watching preseason football, getting excited for Jaylen Milro. I'm a longtime chatter. I only show up once a year on this show, and then I go back to my chatting cave. So I feel like I'm representing all the chatters in the chat. So I'm one of them. And one day you guys may be here too.
Amazing. Braden, tell folks on a scale of 1 to 10 how excited you are about the Seahawks season this year.
I think this is a 10 for me this year. The week 2 preseason game against Kansas City, I think definitely had me excited for this year, the potential of the offense. I think there's things to be excited about this year that we haven't seen before. There feels like more culture, more momentum going within the team that we maybe haven't seen in a few years. So definitely excited about that one.
Like it when we've had our intern like help folks here before, they've tended to be, you have some history to catch up with because our last guy, Trey, he won this thing, I think, at least once. So we'll see. Josh, by the way, is the reigning champ. He will let you know that multiple times. So I figured I'd beat him to the punch. Deryck Gebe, Deryck, what's going on for you, dude?
I'm ready to yell at you all for being way too Homer-ish. I've seen these predictions. This is obscene levels of Homerism going on. So I'm good, Brian. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. We need the balance. We really, really do. The rest of the folks you guys all know. So I'm going to let those folks kind of come in as they go. But the other 3 we don't get to talk to as much. So I want to make sure we got to introduce them. All right. We're gonna get going here. All right. No further ado. And we're going to figure out the best view for you guys all to see what's going on here. There's not a perfect way to have 8 people on a show and then also show you our predictions. So let's start with the first game of the regular season, and let's talk about the San Francisco 49ers and what we've got going there right now. If you look here, everyone but Deryck, true to form, everyone but Deryck is predicting a win to start the season. Evan, what do you think about that?
Look at that smug ass smile he has down in the bottom left corner too. I don't know where he's located on your guys' screens, but this guy joined tonight and he's coming out of the gates so pessimistic and I think just refusing to recognize the reality of the trajectory that this football team is on. I know he was a big Pete Carroll guy, and I know I think he's a little sad about how wrong his projections are going to be tonight, to be honest.
Nathan, you've been accused of being negative in the past, although you've been among the more positive people from my perspective on this show the last couple of years. Did you hesitate at all to start with a win in this one?
No, not really at all. I mean, a few of these games are kind of, I would put this more towards a toss-up, but that team just feels too much in disarray. They may be a team that like gets it together later on down the road, but I feel like that like week 1 is the best time to play this Niners team, right?
Well, I mean, I have to ask, did anyone feel like they wanted to change their prediction after MVS signed with the 49ers? Have anyone really worried? Jeff, are you scared about what this 49ers are going to look like with MVS?
What's the furthest no I could give? What's the biggest no I could give there?
Yeah.
If MVS is like moving your prediction, you obviously didn't watch training camp.
Yeah. Josh, you predicted MVS going to the 49ers. How did that feel?
Well, it's not anything like technical about my prediction. I just know, like, from years of watching Pete Carroll defenses, especially, is that like the most guy that you think wouldn't go off has the most insane game against us. So I can already like picture it being like third quarter, MVS has like 70 yards and we're winning, but it's just like nobody's like it's like, it's the Mason Rudolph like trauma I have, I guess.
You still got PTSD.
PTSD. Yeah, PTSD. Deryck, so explain yourself. What is it about the 49ers or what is it about the Seahawks that has you predicting the L on opening day?
I mean, are we forgetting last season where they got blown out in the first game and then it took like a Geno Smith last minute scramble 25-yard touchdown run to beat them at home? I just don't think the Niners are that bad. Like, okay, they were bad last year. Have they gotten that much worse? Yes or no? Have the Seahawks gotten that much better? Yes or no? Like, I don't think that's clear.
That's not a statement. You need to answer that question yourself. Both of those things. Have the 49ers gotten better? Yes or no? Yes or no?
I would say they're probably about the same.
Okay, 6-win team.
I would say the Seahawks are probably also about the same. They have potentially downgraded at quarterback. They've potentially upgraded at offensive line. The defense, I don't know, maybe a little better, but we're going to get into all this. I just think it's not as cut and dry as everyone makes it seems. And 7 out of 8 people predicting to win. I don't know.
I think it's going to be an ugly win. I'm going to say that right now. I think it's going to be an ugly win. At week 1, almost every year, something like annoying happens. I'm picturing that Dolphins week 1 game we had where it was so ugly. We won it, but it felt like a loss when we were done. I feel like that's what's going to happen. So just because I put a W doesn't mean I think it's going to be like a blowout win.
The Broncos game last year with 2 safeties in one half. Like I can see this looking exactly like the Broncos game last year.
The first game of the season is always a wild card for every team. And it's really hard to be confident one way or another. I think even Deryck would have to agree. I think what Nathan said is right. If you're going to play the 49ers, the first game is probably the best time. No Brandon Ayuk, no Malik Mustafa, their other receivers, Juwan Jennings. We don't exactly know what's going on there. So we're not going to spend this much time on every game, by the way. But I think this opening game is a really big one. And I was a little surprised that everybody but Deryck had this as a win. I think this is going to be a big win. I think they're going to win going away. And so I am set up to have a very hard fall in this first week. I feel like a little bit like going into the Packers game last year, where I convinced myself the Seahawks had turned a corner. The defense was playing really well. The Packers had some weak spots, and then the Packers dominated the first half of that game and absolutely crushed my spirit. So I can't have that happen again, but I am set up for that. So, Evan, are you similarly expecting this to be a big win?
I'm going to quote something I said last week on the podcast, or maybe 2 weeks ago, whatever it was. Daddy is home. The NFC West true rightful heir has returned. This is not just going to be a win. This is going to be a 13, 14 point plus win. This is 100% the time to play them. They are devastated with injuries across the board. Ricky Pearsall, who we don't even really know anything about, is their top receiver, totally unproven. They have injuries across the entire defensive line as well. They've lost some key guys in the offseason to the Broncos. Like, this is the time to show up and show out and say, you know what? The NFC West is ours again. We're setting the tone. This is a different football team. This is a different franchise under a different head coach. Like, we're home, baby. Like, we're back. We've been in hibernation for like 5 to 6 years. This is our coming out party. And I think we're going to punch them in the throat, to be honest.
If that happens, I feel like there's a little bit of 2012 second game vibes where the 49ers had been kind of running things. And I see Jeff and Nathan don't like that. I'm just saying, I'm not saying it's going to be 42-13, but I'm still telling you, every 49ers fan I see is expecting the 49ers to blow out the Seahawks. Like, they're not worried even a little bit about this game. And so if the Seahawks go in and they win comfortably, it is going to force some people that, by the way, the 49ers are predicted by all betting, all odds makers to be the division winner. So if the Seahawks go in there and they win comfortably, I think that's going to change tectonic things in terms of people's perspectives. And so we'll see. I think it's a really big first game. Oh, insufferable. It says everyone's going to be insufferable on Twitter when we win. I think he's going to be absolutely must-see Twitter. Like,
he's insufferable all the time.
I would say the sun will rise tomorrow. Like, yeah, that'll probably happen.
I'm telling you right now, I'm going to be there in person in the stadium with a couple of friends and close people to me. And people are going to have to hold me back if we win, because I can't get any criminal charges, but I'll be tempted to. Like, it will be a scene.
All right, so that's week one. Let's move on to week two. 10 a.m. game at Pittsburgh. DK Metcalf, Aaron Rodgers. I'm probably missing some guys that are also connections there. So there are 3 of us that have predicted a loss in week two. Only 3. That means 5 predicted a win. Without looking, like, who do you think predicted the loss here? Any guesses, Jeff? Who do you think? Are you looking at it right now?
No, I would guess Josh Cashman certainly predicted a loss there.
He did. He's got some Pittsburgh connections. He's a softie.
I would say he's got a one pretty big Pittsburgh connection.
Yeah.
My choices aren't biased.
DK Metcalf.
Wait, no, I think Deryck chalked it up as a loss. He's been all.
Deryck did not.
He did not.
Deryck has him as a win.
They won a game under.
That was 0-17 for Deryck.
I'm fair and balanced, you guys. This is
fair and balanced. Okay.
Dayna, who would you guess? Any other guesses you've got?
You said it was you.
Well, I didn't say that, but I am one of the people.
Okay, I'm gonna pick you, Brian. Yeah.
You're right. You're right. That leaves one other person, and that is Jeff. So Jeff, Josh, and myself picked this as a loss. Again, week 2 road game against a good defense. I'm surprised the majority of us have picked this as a win. Braden, why did you have this as a win?
I think the Aaron Rodgers' situation is maybe the biggest question mark in Pittsburgh. I think that his peak was maybe 3+ years ago. The Achilles injury, he hasn't necessarily shown anything since. He's incredibly old at this point. I worry about his ability to be mobile, and if we can get a push on the defensive line, I think we have a good chance to affect Aaron Rodgers. And then, I mean, I love the rivalry with DK. I think that's going to be a fun game. And then Jalen Ramsey on the other side of the ball. I mean, it should be a fun game the whole way through, but I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is a saving grace in Pittsburgh, no matter who they put on the outside.
Jeff, you picked them to lose this game. Why?
I didn't feel good about it. Just, I hate picking Pittsburgh, but the reason it's just Seattle's offensive line, I think, is so much important to their success this year. And just an early game against maybe one of the best defensive fronts in the league on the road, 10 a.m. I just think it's one of those games that's going to be an ugly matchup that just flips the wrong way. I don't like the Steelers very much this year, and McDonald knows that team really, really well. It's just, I think it's like an individual matchup thing.
Can I throw this in here?
Yeah.
Seriously, you guys, what is the one thing DK Metcalf cannot handle? A big game. And this is going to be the biggest game of his entire season. I like DK, don't get me wrong, but emotions, instead of picking him up, often completely throw him off his game. Plus, it's only the second game into the season. Rodgers is going to Rodgers and pretend like he's savior of the world and end up, probably hurt in the first game, if not then the second. But I just don't think that DK, unless he's grown up immensely in the last offseason, will be able to handle this much of that kind of emotional game. And I've seen it in chat. People are like, Spoon is going to be talking in his ear the entire damn game, and it's going to be hilarious. If so, there is not pushing and shoving either between DK and Jalen Ramsey on the sidelines or something, but between I'll be surprised. I think this is a super emotional game, and I just don't feel like DK handles those very well.
Josh, you got this as a loss. Why?
Because I think Steelers defense, like, people kind of forget because of the whole offseason, they've kind of like recycled their whole team. It feels like, I was talking to someone about this earlier, it feels like they got rid of everyone and replaced them with someone who's like almost equally as good. So they kind of just replaced everyone. Like, they got rid of Minka, but they had a bunch of guys who were underperforming last year, and they still had a really good defense. Like, Minka had a terrible year. TJ Watt had a pretty terrible year and still got paid relatively. And they still have a good defense. They have great corners and everything. And I just think that I can just picture it like totally just like, because I feel like we're such a new offense and everything. I can just picture us not being able to run the ball. And then we saw in the preseason, I know it's preseason, but we saw like what this offense could look like when it gets behind schedule, when it doesn't get any yards on first or second down. And it just seems like something that's going to be like a slugfest. And that just plays into like what Aaron Rodgers can do, because he's not going to score a lot of points. And early season Aaron Rodgers, I feel like, is like the worst time to see him. So I don't know. I think it's just a bad matchup across the country too. And a really good defense.
I saw a smirk for you. What were you smirking about there?
Oh no, I was actually agreeing with all that. I mean, I think this was the hardest one for me to pick a win for the first. Yeah, I've got them winning several games in a row, and this is the one that's most dicey on that 10 a.m. road game. But I do think, like, I wouldn't say that DK doesn't show up for big games, but I do think you're right that like emotional games can certainly, get the better of him. And Seattle matches up really well, between Woolen and Eamon so they've got guys. I mean, like, I don't know whether that Eamon Worry is actually going to be able to play against DK, but at least from a physical perspective, he can match up. So I do expect it to be an ugly game, but no, I think everything Josh said is like very reasonable and could certainly end up being why they lose.
I have this. Go ahead.
I also think that DK, maybe this is just a personal thing, but I think he doesn't see that. Like, I know he wants to play well against, but he didn't want to play here. So, and if it was like Pete and all them, I think he would have more like, it would be more of like an emotional thing, but he didn't want to be here. So I think part of it is like, it's not as big of like a lot of guys who leave teams. I don't think he has any attachment to Mike McDonald. If anything, he just wants to prove that he's probably they need him. But
Yeah, I have it a loss, and part of it is just that defense and that defensive line. I think similar to what Jeff said. And I think the interesting thing is we joke about MVS to the 49ers. The Steelers were the other team trying to get MVS to sign. They've got DK Metcalf and who? Like Roman Wilson, maybe? Like it's a question. They have every tight end that plays in the NFL. They got like 17 tight ends. I think they are actually turning one of them into a left tackle potentially, from what I heard. But in any event, I'll say this. If they win the first 2 games of this season, at home against the 49ers, on the road against the Steelers, Deryck, we're coming for you, dude. Like everything changes if they win those 2 games. Because you get to week 3 and you got New Orleans and Spencer Rattler at home. And as far as I can tell, I'm not going to, I'll show all the predictions here in a second. Everybody's got that as a win. Now, the only thing I'll ask, does anyone have any concern about the New York Giants redux kind of situation of they go on the road, maybe they have a tough loss to Pittsburgh, they fly across the country, come home to the Saints who are terrible, and then they lay an egg? Like, I see a lot of shaking heads. Evan, why?
I was saving the Giants reference for another game later.
Okay, we'll come back. Don't forget it. Evan, Jeff, you guys were both shaking your heads. Why?
Jeff, you take it.
Have you seen that team? They are horrendous. And look, I know that Giants game was pretty
Giants team
painful.
was pretty bad, dude.
It was, but they still had Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns. Brian Dable at least knows what he's doing in some level. I don't know if Kellen Moore knows what he's doing. And that was also like in the middle of like a crazy stretch where they played San Francisco and Detroit on kind of the short weeks. And they looked past them for whatever reason. No, they're not losing that game. New Orleans is horrible. They're going for Arch Manning.
All right. Yeah, that's actually a good point. Manning's not coming out next year, but we'll see. But him playing where his dad played would be kind of cool.
Yep.
All right. So we're not going to spend more time there. Week 4 at Arizona on a Thursday night. So you got home against the Saints. Then you go short week to Arizona. And this one is crazy. I'm uncomfortable. Dayna, everybody has this as a win. A road division game on a Thursday night. Everybody on this panel has it as a win. What is going on?
I think, well, for me, I will say this is the way Nathan felt about Pittsburgh is the way I feel about this Arizona game, because Nathan and I both have them going 4-0. And this was the one that was really hard for me to decide, just simply because I'm like, will Kyler Murray figure it out this year? Will he not? But Seattle usually does well in Arizona, right? It's a Thursday game. And so I don't know. I just feel like Arizona this year, for what they have for their team, is just going to take longer than 4 games to get it together. I just don't see them putting it together. And I think by game 4 for Seattle, they'll actually have a pretty good roll going with that offense and everyone will be settling in. So this one was tough for me. I vacillated a little bit on this one, but I ended up going with the win.
Anybody struggle with Arizona on the road on a Thursday night? Give anyone pause?
The only thing I'll say is, isn't Walter Nolan officially out for that game?
Good point. Yes. So we do know that Walter Nolan's out. They also be without Bilal Nichols for whatever that's worth, defensive lineman.
Is this the game we're wearing those new uniforms?
No, that's against the Rams later in the year.
Okay. All right. Never mind.
I don't know. Well, actually, do we have to wear when they wear them? Like,
sorry, go ahead, Brian.
Go ahead, Nathan. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I'm just curious, like, how would that have influenced your prediction?
They wear that
how ugly they
combo. What's the terrible combo? It's like the gray jersey with the blue pants that they like never won a game.
Oh yeah.
Something
They just losing them.
Wolf gray just always look like dirty white.
It's retired now anyway, right?
Yeah, it's retired pretty much.
Pants are still there though.
So it's a little surprising to me. Is everyone just basing this off the fact that the Seahawks swept the Cardinals last year and Mike McDonald seems to have completely figured out how to give Kyler Murray all sorts of problems.
I'm just not buying sorry, Evan. I'm just not buying the Cardinals. Like, it seems like this has happened 3-4 years in a row where they're like, here we go. Like, the Cardinals have made some improvements. Kyler Murray's really going to hit his stride now. It just doesn't happen. So I'm not buying it.
I gotta jump in with you, Deryck. I'm 100% in agreement with you. Like, it's very hard for me to take this Cardinals team seriously, especially as somebody who lives here. Like, the hype around this team is not significant, guys. Like, it was way higher going into last year. I think as long as Kyler Murray's there, like, I'm never gonna fully believe in this football team. I just won't. And it may be stupid, but I need to see it to believe it from them.
For some reason, the national media shoulda, coulda, wouldas Kyler Murray every year, and they just keep waiting for this kid to explode. I feel it's kind of like Justin Herbert, but Justin Herbert actually can play. So it's just so bizarre to me because Kyler Murray is like, oh yeah, this is it. Well, this has got to be his last year, right? That contract was ridiculous when they gave it to him, but they've got to be to a point where they get rid of him after this year, I would hope, because he's sure not doing a thing.
Nathan, were you going to say something?
Well, I was just going to say, it's not just that they swept them last year either, but like they absolutely put the clamps on that offense. At no point did it seem like they were going to do. I think maybe they had, was it the very first drive, or maybe it was the very first drive of the second game where they came out and like kind of flew down the field and got a touchdown, and it was like okay, and then it was no, absolutely not. So yeah, I think seeing how well they dominated them last year doesn't give me really any doubt about this game.
Well, I guess I'm a little surprised that Josh Cashman, who is Kyler Murray's #1 fan, did not pick them to win.
Next game.
Excuse me.
Next game. Let's move on.
Okay.
Did we lose him?
Did Brian X himself out again?
He definitely exited.
Happened again? Oh my gosh!
All right,
We are in charge.
we can talk all our shit right now.
We can take over.
Oh, Brian, yeah.
And now your mic's not working.
What?
Oh no, we can't hear you. Sorry, we can't hear you.
Is my mic working?
Yeah.
No, it's
No,
good.
it's-
Okay. Yeah.
What?
This is when I have too many windows open and I'm doing too many different things. I couldn't stand hearing anything more. So at the quarter mark, I've got them. Well, that's not really the quarter, but anyway, after 4 games, 3-1. Nathan's got them 4-0. Evan's got them 4-0. Jeff has them 3-1. Dayna has them 4-0. Josh has them 3-1. Deryck, the most negative of the crew, has them at 3-1. Braden has them at 4-0. I'm uncomfortable.
I'm not. I'm sitting very well.
I think this means it's definitely not going to go well the first 4 games now that we all have it going positive.
I don't know.
You just need you need to think back to what you saw in week 2 of the preseason. The early indicators that we have not seen from this football team in over a decade, guys. You have to think about the indicators, the tea leaves.
They also started well last year. They were 3-0, and then
Well,
ugly
they
game
played
Detroit.
a pretty horrible set of
They
quarterbacks.
played all
wasn't-
backup quarterbacks
Yeah.
You know what's funny?
Yeah,
is-
But I mean,
Piece of shit.
and Bo Nick.
Aaron Rodgers is like a backup quarterback at this point, and whoever the Saints are going to roll out is a
Spencer
replacement level QB. So,
On my
Murray.
randomly, one of my photos pulled up the stat sheet of our 2016 preseason, and we had hit every historic number on offense and defense. It was like insane, so insane that I saved the picture and still have it like 10 years later. And that was the season we started off with that horrible Dolphins game. It was a great year. They ended up playing having a good year, but I think it's just like let's be ready for that to happen because things happen and then they got to figure it out.
Russ got hurt in that Dolphins game. That doesn't
I was thinking
count.
Dominican Sue one, wasn't it? Where he rolled his ankle or something.
Knee, wasn't it? He got his knee twice in like that year.
Oh, is that what it was?
I think.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, well, let's. We just lost Evan. No worries. All right,
Wow,
we're gonna keep
He
going.
was on before me. This is a record.
I know. It's true, Jeff. You're getting to see the other side of things. So then we get to week 5, and we got home against the Tampa Bay Bucs. And this is a game that a lot of the crew has as a loss. In fact, 5 of us have this as a home loss. Who that has this as a loss would like to explain why?
I will. I have it as a loss. The only reason I think Tampa Bay is going to be good this year, but also you go 4-0, you're going to drop a game. So you're going to drop a game. You're going to drop a game against a pretty good team. You're not going to drop it against Jacksonville, maybe Houston, but there seems to be some question marks there. So I would pick Tampa Bay out of that chunk before the bye week. I don't see this team going in undefeated into their bye week. If that were to happen, my brain might explode. I might be Evan level crazy at that point. But I'm just saying, I think that they probably are going to drop this game just because Tampa Bay is a good team. Baker Mayfield is a good quarterback. And if they go 4-0, it'll be time.
I need somebody to convince me why Tampa Bay is good.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
They have amazing receivers.
One of them is coming off a major injury, so they've got Mike Evans and
he's come off like
McMillan's
3
also
major
injured.
injuries before. Yeah, I mean he's come off like 3 major injuries before. I think Chris Godwin's pretty amazing. They also drafted Emeka Egbuka, who's had pretty outstanding reviews from training camp and preseason. It's just they seem to have a good offense every year, and their defense. Yeah, so I think really good receivers, and Todd Bowles knows how to coach. I don't know.
Todd Bowles
knows how to coach. That's what we're going with.
They played Washington really tough in the playoffs last year. They gave them a run for their money. That was a good game. They're a quality football team.
They've been to the playoffs like 5 years in a row, 6 years. Like, when's the last time Tampa Bay's missed the playoffs? I don't actually know that, but like
they kind of remind me of the Geno Smith Seahawks, where they have this like quarterback playing way over value, and then
they have the best offensive line in the league. So I don't know.
Well, yeah.
So,
I mean, I'm looking at the Bucs here. I gotta do this for a second. So
Tampa Bay has made the playoffs the last 5 years.
Their last 3. Derek, if you were a Tampa Bay fan, you would be absolutely clowning them. They've gone 10-7, 9-8, and 8-9. Their last 3. They've been basically a 500 team, and people talk about this team like it's like a Titanic juggernaut. I'm like, Baker Mayfield's fine. He's not that good. Like, I don't think Baker Mayfield's like some world
40
beater.
touchdowns last year.
So what? Like,
what? That's double what Geno and Stafford threw. That means they have a pretty good offense.
Well, but they also lost their offensive coordinator for the 2nd year in a row.
Yeah,
I don't think we have any idea what this guy's going to look like. I think Todd Bowles is not that great of a coach.
Yeah, their defense isn't very good. I think that's the flaw of their team.
Baker Mayfield is fine. I don't know why people are so excited about him. Unlike my quarterback, Sam Darnold, who is clearly going to go and beat Tampa, a playoff team last year.
I'm not saying that. I'm just like, I think people are way out over their skis on Tampa Bay. I really do. And I think, like, of the teams that we've talked about so far, like, I think we've talked about teams that are definitely, like, Pittsburgh's defense, I think, is way more intimidating than anything Tampa Bay is going to be bringing to that game. And if you're talking about a team with a good offense, that's the team I want to face, because the Seahawks defense is their strength, and the Seahawks defense at home, I think it's going to be really hard for most offenses to go against. So I don't know. I got this as a win. I'm one of the only people. Nathan and I and Braden are the only ones that have this one as a win.
Brian, my last point on that would be, I'm a little worried about the Seahawks offense ability to keep up when the defense doesn't show up, which will happen.
That's why I picked Tampa
a couple times. Like, it just doesn't seem, and hopefully it happens, but I don't see the explosiveness on this offense. And I don't see the way that they're going to be able to keep up and score 34 points that they may need to sometimes.
Yeah, that Tampa offensive line is extremely good. And if Mike can't scheme up pressure, and we know that they've had issues against the run last year. So potentially you could see this, like, you could see Tampa exploit like everything that's, all of Seattle's weaknesses. I did pick them to win because I do generally agree with you. Like, Tampa feels like that trendy team that I would normally pick Seattle to lose against. And then you have, either Pete or now McDonald come in there and be like, no, actually, I'm really good at defense and we'll figure this out and maybe it'll be a slog. But so that's why I ended up picking this as a win. But I do think that there's definitely potential for this to go extremely wrong.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they can they can lose any of these games, to be honest. But I do think the point about catching up is an interesting one. And I don't know if you guys are feeling this, but like if you look at the Kyle Shanahan teams over the years, like they're front runners. When they are winning the first quarter, then they win the game. Brock Purdy in the last 3 years, close and late, how many passing touchdowns does he have? 1 score game. He has zero. Like, and it's just something that the 49ers have not had to do. So I think you're right. It's a run-centric team. If they don't get that going, that's going to be something we're going to have to watch for. And it certainly has gotten up to Kyle Shanahan in a number of Super Bowls. Although I think we take a Super Bowl one way or another at this point. So, all right. So that is the Tampa Bay. We get to Jacksonville, which is at Jacksonville. So we seesaw back and forth, road home. This is another 10 a.m. game. And everybody's got this as a win. So did anybody struggle with like cross country, Trevor Lawrence, Liam Cohen, like Travis Hunter? Anybody buying this Jackson? No, no one wants to take the Jacksonville case. Interesting. I think this is a losable game. I absolutely think that this is exactly the kind of game that the Seahawks would lose.
Make the case for it. Why would they lose this football game? Because if they lose this football game, we've got big problems.
Well, I don't know if that's true. It is a 10 a.m. game across the country in Jacksonville, which is a little, sorry, I think it's a shithole. If you live there, I'm apologizing, but that's my perspective. The Seahawks historically have struggled when they've gone to Jacksonville. I just think it's not a game they're going to get up for necessarily. I just think it's the type of game that you could just overlook. And there's enough. Who knows if Liam Cohen is as good of an offensive coordinator as he looked like he was in Tampa Bay, maybe they're 20% better on offense than they were. And, it just gets away from them. I could see this being like a special teams loss where Jay Harbaugh just, blows the game for them or something like that. But I picked it as a win, but yeah, that's kind of where I'm coming from.
They have a massive kicker advantage too. Like it will be fun to watch a truly elite quality kicker for a change.
True. Fair. All right. So we won't talk more about that one. Let's keep going. So after that, which everyone's got them as a win, the game before the bye week is back home against the Houston Texans on Monday Night Football. Monday Night Football in Seattle. This is going to be. Is this the one where they wear the throwbacks? I think throwbacks is Tampa Bay. Sorry, Tampa Bay is going to be really cool because that's going to be throwbacks and Tampa Bay creamsicles. Like that's going to be a good one. So in this game, we have got a lot of home losses. We've only got Nathan and Josh picking a win on this. Josh, explain.
Damn, I was expecting myself to pick a loss.
Whoops.
Yeah, I feel like they don't travel well. Honestly, having a team that doesn't travel well is actually a big thing for Seahawks at the home, just because feels like every team is taking over our stadium nowadays. And their O-line isn't very good. I feel like we kind of do really well against teams with bad O-lines. They have a good pass rush and everything, and I could see like them getting it back together this year. But even if they're good, I still think like having a bad O-line is like our thing that we can get after. I remember the Falcons game is like one that I picture in my mind, and I know they're not the Falcons, but like just the way they took over that game was so awesome. I could see that happening, but it's going to be a close one if it is. I think this is more of a vibes pick, if anything.
Who wants to speak up about this game? Like, it's got a lot of L's up there. Curious why.
I'll speak up. They're the most maybe dominant edge rush group in the league right now with Will Anderson and Hunter. And even when you watch them play like the Chiefs in the playoffs, Will Anderson was the best player on the field. And I've just seen a couple of those dominant edge rushers just take over games like that because offensively, they have probably the worst offensive line in the league, and they have a pretty messed up running situation right now. And some of the Iowa State receivers they drafted are not playing right now. So my pick was purely just that defensive line group just taking over the game. We always talk about blue chip players. Those are the guys I picked for this game.
Yeah, I think D'Amico Ryans is a good coach. I think that defense is going to be a top 5 defense almost certainly. Derek Stingley, you take him and erase JSN from the offense, and you've got a defense that plays well. The only question I've got is that offensive line. I mean, that might be an offensive line that has a worse outlook than the Seahawks. And now Ernst has earned the starting job at left tackle, so I don't know. But like CJ Stroud, good quarterback.
Brian,
yes.
this is the Lake and Tomlinson revenge game.
This is the Lake. I was waiting for
Oh
somebody
my
to bring that up.
I can't believe I forgot.
I mean, how do you feel about that, Josh? Are you gonna be repping your Lake and Tomlinson Seahawks jersey?
If I can pull it out of the closet, yeah, for sure.
That's the only reason Josh predicted a win for this game.
Yeah, you and Nathan. Why? How'd you guys get there?
Nathan?
Yeah, I think Houston is another team that is just, I don't think they're as good as people kind of think they are. They were actually kind of bad last year. And any of these games they could lose, like we've talked through all of them. So I'm not saying this is like a slam dunk, but I don't think they're like a great team or anything. And I'm expecting Seattle to come out and play really well. Just to start the year. I think Seattle could be a really good team this year. So to me, it's a little bit kind of same thing, a little bit of a vibes pick, but it's a home game and all that. And so, yeah, I think Seattle wins.
Yeah, that's gonna be a tough one. They got receivers for days. They've got a good quarterback. They've got a good coach. They've got a great defensive pass rush, great linebacker, at least one, and great corners. So it's a tough one. It's definitely a tough one. And I'm not surprised to see all the L's there, but that would be before the bye week. Then they come back from the bye week, a tough little 2 weeks. They go at Washington for a Sunday night football game. And so they play the former NFC conference contender, or at least participant, NFC championship participant last year, Washington Commanders, Jaden Daniels, and everybody but Evan and Jeff have this as a loss. Evan.
Yeah.
Convince us.
I'll speak up on this one. I've been actually listening to a lot of Commanders football content for whatever reason. I've been sort of infatuated with them. I think there's going to be a little bit of like a regression to the mean with them this year. They had an insane year last year. Jaden Daniels, did things that I think nobody anticipated. But when you look at this Commanders football team, they're a pretty old football team. They've got a lot of guys on the back half of the upper 20s, early 30s. They're getting older. For the 2025 season, I think they ranked top 5 in miles traveled. So they're not going to be getting a lot of sleep. But this in terms of defensive rankings, last year they ranked like 18th or 19th in points allowed per game. They added some guys in the trenches, Javon Kinlaw, a name that we're familiar with in the NFC West, but they're getting older. I think I hate to pull out like the statistically analytics card angle here, but I just think there's going to be a regression to the mean. They're a year older across the board, and I think this is a team that Seattle beats. I really do. And I'm not convinced with some of the additions they made on the offensive line as well. I know they added Laramie Tunsil from Houston. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I'm not 100% buying this Commanders football team this year. I think they'll make the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to make a deep run that they did last year. So Jeff
you got this as a win as well. I mean, Jaden Daniels was at times the best player in the sport last year in terms of how much he was lifting that team up. Why do you have this as a win on the road in Jaden's home field?
You know, I don't often agree with Evan almost word for word. I don't know if there's ever happened, but kind of the research I've done before the year, I'm kind of fading Washington this year. And to what you just said, Brian, I completely agree with you. Like, if there's one player I would buy stock in right now in the league, it's him. But if you look at that roster, they had a lot of one-score wins last year. They had a lot of like close games, and that typically regresses to the mean. I'll use my Deryck terms here, but their roster's really old, and they didn't infuse any youth. Like their draft was like Josh Connerly and a couple projects. Teams like that don't tend to take, even though they have the great quarterback, you got to keep just infusing youth. And they got like Zach Ertz and Bobby Wagner.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of the game where like if Mike McDonald is the dude I think he is, like we saw what he did to good quarterbacks that year in Baltimore. And I don't know if we're that level yet, but really it's kind of Jaden Daniels against the whole team. Like they don't really have a lot of strengths right now. They lost a lot of depth on the defensive line. I'm kind of fading them this year, and maybe I'll look like an idiot because I do think that quarterback's so good. I just think Seattle's got a much more complete team, and I think they tend to win those games.
I totally agree with you on who has the better roster. I just picture Jaden Daniels on 3rd and short, and then Jaden Daniels on 4th and short, and just scrambling around and being absolutely annoying. And the Seahawks not being able to get off the field. Like that's in their home state, and that's kind of what I'm imagining. But I think those all make sense. So if we get back, we look now, folks, at your predictions through the first 8 games of the season. I've got them at 5-3. Nathan's at 7-1. Everyone, make sure you hear that. Nathan always gets told he is like the most pessimistic. He's got him at 7-1 to start the year. Evan's at 6-2. Jeff's like me, 5-3. Dayna's 5-3. Josh is 5-3. Deryck has come back down to 4-4. He's scowling at the Seahawks season. And then Braden is 6-2. So we've got a little bit of a range going on. Those 4 games did not treat the Seahawks nearly as well as the first 4. Nathan, how do you feel about 7-1 to start the year?
Good. I mean, usually I do this thing where I'm like, well, Pittsburgh is a toss-up game, and Houston's a toss-up game, and Tampa's a toss-up game. So I'll just kind of randomly pick a few that are losses and a couple that are wins, and then I'll split it. But this year I decided, like, no, I think we'll just we'll build a little bit of a narrative here. We'll imagine that they get out to a hot start and things are going well and they're staying healthy and they rip off 7 in a row. I think, you know, until the Washington game, I agree with the comments about that roster being old, but they were a legitimately very good team last year. They were 10th in points differential, 10th in DVOA, 5th in offensive points. So, like, that's the first team where I think they kind of run up against a team that is maybe, you know, maybe more true contender and makes Seattle look a little bit a pretender. But everyone before that is a beatable team. And so why not? Maybe they run the first 7 games.
For people that didn't catch that, Nathan had them starting the season 7-0.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. But
so
people will be mad in the comments because I said nice things about the Commanders. So yeah.
probably. I mean, I'm curious for the group. What would be in those first 8 games if there's a specific game or a specific record that would have you questioning how this season's going to go? Like, if the Seahawks dropped this game or if this happened in the first 8 games, then I am questioning this team. What would happen?
If they lose that Saints game at all, even if it's even like comes down to the last second, I think
it always comes down to the last second, Josh. It's Seahawks football.
But this is the Saints. Like, this team is like worse than any team we played last year. I don't even know. Like, their quarterback situation is one of the worst I've ever seen. I'm surprised they don't get more flack for it. Like, they would have been like twice as better off with like Justin Fields. Like, that's how bad it is. And it's just like, if we lose that one, it's just like, I don't know. It's just, there's just like no excuse. It's at home. It's against his former team. Like, he has Kubiak's former team. It's like all the motivation is there. It's just like, it would be such an ugly one.
Anybody else? Like, what would cause you to? Dayna, go ahead.
Brian, I want to know what you would think if this team started 0-2. If they lost to both San Francisco and Pittsburgh, went into New Orleans looking for their first win.
Yeah, it would be
That's
really
a
rough.
judgment.
It'd be really rough. But here's the thing: is I think those are two of the toughest games on their schedule. I happen to think they're going to beat San Francisco going away, but it's a division team and it's a team with a lot of star players, and so yeah, it's not out of the realm. Sorry, I'm getting some feedback. There we go. So I think that they could recover from that, Dayna, but it would definitely, the San Francisco game. You don't even get to Pittsburgh. If they lose the San Francisco game, I'm going to feel some kind of way about the way the season's going to go.
Yeah.
I would throw the Arizona game in there as well. I think nobody on this panel seems to have any concerns whatsoever about Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
I think Mike McDonald looks like he's got Kyler Murray in a box so far. But the Cardinals had a top 12-ish offense last year. They stunk against the Seahawks, but they had a decent offense overall, a good run game, a good offensive line. And then their defense was terrible, but their defense, I think, it has a much higher floor this year. I think if they beat the Seahawks early on, I start thinking that the Cardinals are going to be one of the teams that really challenge in the division. So anyway, that's one of the games that for me would give me some pause, but I don't get as shook by like the New Orleans, Jacksonville, like losing to a bad team, because the Seahawks seem to do that every year to some team. Even the 2013 team lost to the Cardinals at home, late.
This is the one thing I'll say about the Cardinals, and then I'll hand it off to you, Deryck. But their defense is going to look radically different this year. And we don't know if that's going to be a positive thing, but if you look at the free agent additions they made, just like in totality, and 6 of their 7 draft picks being on the defensive side of the football, Walter Nolan will be back for this game. Like, it could be a different looking unit this year. Their corners still seem a little sketch, so that side of the football looks worrisome from their perspective. But I think there's potential for improvement there, frankly.
Deryck, what were you going to say?
I was going to say the Jacksonville game may not give me pause if like Jacksonville's offense is just lighting the world on fire. Like if Liam Cohen comes in and really provides an uplift to Trevor Lawrence, I'm a little skeptical given the personnel, but if he does really boost Trevor Lawrence and Travis Hunter is like a legit wide receiver 1 at the NFL level, and that offense looks really good, then I won't feel so bad about a loss like that.
All right, everybody take a drink. We're going for the second half of the season. You don't have to reveal what you're drinking, but let's get refreshed, energized as we head in. Now, back half of the season, we're going to go a little faster here. We're going to go this stretch of home against Arizona, at the Rams for the first time in Week 11, at the Tennessee Titans, and then home against the Minnesota Vikings, JJ McCarthy. Now, we're going to cover those 4 games. Home against Arizona, at the Rams, at the Titans, 10 a.m., home against Minnesota. Now, I've got them winning all 4 of those games. Now, we've got Josh having them lose 2. We've got Deryck having them lose 2. Josh has them losing 2, and then he's the only one. Everybody else is 3-1 over that stretch, as long as I'm looking at this correctly. Josh, you have them losing home to Arizona, your Kyler Murray fantasies, and then at the Rams, you have them losing that.
Yeah.
Explain.
It's really, it has nothing to do with the Cardinals as much as I want it to be. It has nothing to do with the Cardinals. It kind of has to do something with the Rams, but we have to put down a stupid loss one time during the year. It's just part of the Seahawks. It's part of being a fan. You have to have one stupid loss. And I just had to give it to the Cardinals. So, and then the Rams are just, they're annoying. And even if Stafford isn't great, their pass rush is annoying, and they're just, they figure out a way to be annoying, and it'll probably be a close game. Both of them will probably be close, but I had to have a sad part of the year.
Every one of us had this the game against the Rams in LA as a loss, except for two people, myself and Jeff Simmons. Jeff, you do the honors, because I bet you and I see this the same way.
We should have beat them last year in that game. And other than like them switching Devontae Adams, what's really changed? And now Matt Stafford's one knee to the back away from, I can't remember who. Someone picked them to play like 4 games this year. And so that could be Jimmy G playing at that point. But even if it's not, I think the Seahawks match up pretty well against the Rams. And I think this is the kind of team that can beat them. And so I like to root against the Rams. I find Sean McVay, as much as he is a good coach, I just find him incredibly annoying. He sounds like a jacked up version of John Gruden and like a wrestling character. Like I just want to cheer against them. So even like 2005, like if we finally beat the Rams twice, I think that was 2005, and things finally changed. I feel like this is going to be the year where that happens.
Everybody else has got this as lost. Was anybody like hesitant, or is everyone pretty confident about, yeah, they're going to drop this one?
No, I could go either way, especially if Matt Stafford's still playing and playing pretty well. Like that to me is what this hinges on. If Matt Stafford's still healthy by week 9, whatever the week is, then I could easily see it being lost. If it's Jimmy G or whoever else at quarterback, then I would lean in the win column.
The only way I just looked at it as I figure they're going to split these games. So I gave them their home game just because I just feel like this division is kind of that tight. They're that well suited that I think we're going to end up splitting those 2 games. So I just literally am like, wait, I'll give it to them at home. That it was about that much thought into it, just because I think we used to say that this was the best division in football, right? For so many years, it was so good for so long. I think now we're probably pretty close to one of the most even divisions in football. And so I just feel like the Rams will probably get one over on us this year.
Nathan, were you going to say something?
I think this is the real daddy's home game, where Sean McVay reminds everyone who really runs this division. And, you can coulda, shoulda, woulda the one that they lost last year, but they also got by on the skin of their teeth against Jimmy G last year. So even if Stafford's not
that game did it. That was such a poor rep. That game's a throwaway game. If you're gonna say Geno Smith threw 4 touchdowns in that game, are you gonna crow about that? No, that was a bullshit game.
Well, they did not cover themselves in glory against Jimmy G last year. So I don't think that Stafford being out, I don't know how much that really swings things, because he wasn't particularly good in the game they played against him. So you in that first game, you were texting us Stafford's done. He looks done. Right. And he had moments throughout the year, but he mostly looked like garbage.
Exactly. And he's a year older. I know. That's because of Jason Myers missed an extra point. So
look, we should not rule that as a possibility. That card's still in there.
Fair.
You never missed a pick in that stadium.
Wait, didn't Geno throw 2 red end zone picks in that game? Also?
2 red zone interceptions.
Yes, you had a series of events to lose that game.
You had a 3rd and 4th and short inches that you didn't convert in overtime.
A 99-yard touchdown where Geno threw.
Remind me how Sam Darnold played against the Rams last year? Do we want to talk about that?
Okay.
Pretty well.
All right. I'm leaving.
Pretty well. Not in the playoff game, but he played pretty well the first time.
How do you do in the one that mattered?
Oh, Jesus.
Sorry, my internet's breaking up.
Braden, did you haven't said anything for a while? You have any thoughts on this one?
I put the loss also dependent on Matthew Stafford. I think he is also one bad rotation away from a season-ending injury and possibly being in the media booth for the rest of his career.
Well said.
I'll just jump in, and can I add one more thing here, Brian?
Yeah.
They have some defensive pieces that they've put together that, everybody talks about Verse, but Braden Fisk balled out last year. They brought in Poona Ford to help their run defense this year. I think that's going to be a really underrated move for them this season. So I'm buying the Poona Ford hype.
Nathan, what is that? What are you reacting to?
I'm just surprised you didn't take the bait on the Poona Ford trolling there.
There was I was not trolling. I think Poona Ford's going to be good for them.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see. So the only other ones there. So there's a couple of interesting things. So Jeff, you have the Seahawks losing to the Vikings at home. You're the only one. Why?
Everyone says there's that weird game every year. I think Josh said that earlier. I could just see this being it. I don't know. The Sam Darnold versus McCarthy game. I don't know. This is a big deal for him. I just feel like this is going to be that weird game where it's unexplainable how they lose. But the Vikings might be pretty good, or they might be terrible. I don't really have a good read on them because McCarthy's such like a mystery man this year.
Yeah.
So I'm just picking like the something weird moment that Josh talked about. That was not my Arizona. This was this game.
Yeah, that Minnesota team is hard to predict. Yeah, for sure. If they have got so much talent, and then there's this big question mark at quarterback. Atlanta is the next game on this list, and there's a lot of L's. It's four wins, 4 losses across the group. I happen to think Atlanta is going to be good this year. I'm the only person, Nathan, I know, never thinks Atlanta is going to be good. I think Michael Penix is going to be awesome this year.
Have you seen what's going on with his tackles?
Yeah, that's
true. Right tackle's out for the year, and they have to sign. They trade for Mike
Jarrell. Have you heard of Mike Jarrell? He's awesome.
Mike Jarrell might be starting that week.
It's possible. It's true. That's a fair point. Michael Penix Jr. gets rid of the ball really quickly, though. So who's most confident that this is going to be a win? Who wants to make that case? Nathan.
You guys always get such a hard on for the Falcons. Okay, let me just read you their last win totals for a while. 8, 7, 7, 7, 4, 7, 7. You have to go back to 2017 for them to have a winning record. And yeah, what does the 2017 or 2018 team have to do with this year? Nothing. But trash franchises stay trash. Every year, this is one of those teams that like every year it's Kyle Pitts, it's Drake, it's Drake London, it's Michael Penix, it's Arthur Smith is actually going to be. They went and got a good offensive coordinator. They got the hot thing, and they made it. And then next thing you know, Arthur Smith that's terrible, and you can't actually figure out how to use Kyle Pitts. And actually, no, Kyle Pitts just sucks. And I'm just tired of this team. Like, can we stop trying to get excited about the Atlanta goddamn Falcons? This is a perennial gutter franchise and will stay a gutter franchise.
Ouch. I'm glad I'm not a Falcons fan listening to that. Dayna, you've got this is a loss. Deryck, Braden, you guys have anything you want to add to Nathan's monologue?
Derek's just shaking his head.
No. Deryck does not want to follow that.
I think Bijan Robinson's going to run it down our throat. I don't know why. I just feel like that in Atlanta, they're going to play better. I agree with you, Brian. I think Michael Penix is going to play well this year. I think having a whole offseason and him being the guy is going to be good. And, they got a couple of good players in the draft. I think they're going to be definitely within their own division, they'll be much better. So I think that'll be good. But I don't know. I just feel like this is maybe my thought of the game that we shouldn't lose that we're going to at that point.
So keeping people up to date, at this point, they will have played 12 games, 13 games, 13 games. And I've got them at 9-4. Nathan's got them at 11-2. Evan, 11-2. Jeff at 9-4. So Jeff and I are at the same. Braden is at 9-4. Dayna and Josh are 8-5, and Deryck chugging along there at 7-6. Just keeping our nose above water. I will say, with 4 games remaining, Deryck still just needs one more win to go to beat the over/under. Josh, are you going to say something? No, you look like you're going to say something.
Can I say one
yes,
thing?
Go ahead.
Just on the Falcons real fast. I actually thought that comment in the chat about Byron Murphy is a really good point. Because if they lose this football game because they get the ball run down their throats, we're going to have a conversation. And it's going to be a very uncomfortable one.
Why do you
Because of
say
this
that?
game?
That's a weird take. Byron Murphy played against them last year. They ran the ball down our throats, and Byron played great.
We expect a massive year 2 jump from Byron Murphy.
As a run
massive
stopper?
year 2. Yeah.
But why is it the Falcons game that makes that?
Yeah, that's so weird. I don't really see
Because
that take.
Primarily outside
Because
zone
everybody here is assuming that Michael Penix is going to come in and just be a star in like ripping up defensive secondaries in year 2. I don't think that's necessarily going to be the case. And I mean, I like Michael Penix, but
They ran the ball for 6 yards a carry last year against them. We beat them 33-14.
I need to see Byron Murphy step up. That's just
We don't need to wait to the Atlanta game to have a conversation about Jared Verse and Byron Murphy. So
okay. It's actually one game. I have you lost me.
We need to see it from him.
I would agree with that.
I don't get many bad Evan takes anymore. Evan's been solid. I don't quite get that one, but I appreciate the energy behind it. So let's get to the last 4 games of the season. Everybody so far, pretty much, other than Deryck, has his team doing pretty well. Final stretch: home against Indianapolis, home against the Rams. Short week, Thursday night football game. Okay. And then we've got these 2 TBD flex games that could be Saturday games. We don't know what they're going to be, the last 2 games, but it's at Carolina, at San Francisco. So 2 road games to finish, 2 home, and then 2 road. And in fact, this is the first time all season that they will have either back-to-back home games or back-to-back road games. Like that doesn't happen until, well, sorry, I'm wrong. They get back-to-back road games in week 11 and 12, but the first back-to-back home games does not happen until week 15 and 16, which is a little wild. So I've got them going 3-1 in this stretch. Nathan, you've got them going 1-3. So you're crashing down from that 11-2 start. Deryck has them going 3-1. So we're in this bizarro world. I've got to have Deryck versus Nathan duke it out on how this is going to end. Deryck, you first. Why are they going to finish 3-1?
Well, they're playing the Rams at home. Matt Stafford might be done at that point. Playing Carolina, who, for everything Nathan says about Atlanta, I think you can also apply to Carolina, except for maybe a couple Cam Newton years. And then San Francisco, I think, like last game of the season, Seahawks maybe probably need to win to get into the playoffs. I think they find a way to do it. I have them losing to Indianapolis. That's just like the Giants game last year, losing to Daniel Jones. There's going to be a game they drop at some point in the season. I think it could be Indianapolis. So I think they finish strong. They're like the Rams at home and Carolina don't scare me at all. And at San Francisco, I think they can find a way to win.
Nathan, you got the finishing with 3 losses in a row.
Yeah, well, one is the Rams, and I think I already explained why I think they'll lose to the Rams. My one weird game was the Panthers game. I don't know, Bryce Young could be pesky. Maybe Tet's going good at that point. I think that Carolina could be just generally pesky this year. Like, I don't think they'll be complete garbage. I don't think they'll be good by any stretch. But so that was my one weird game. And then, I don't know, just big meaningful game at the end of the year with San Francisco. You know, maybe they're healthy at that point. You know, things are rolling for them. They've got plenty of time, obviously, at that point to have straightened everything out. And, you know, it is a talented team. So sweeping them is going to be a challenge. So, and just kind of narratively, I don't know if something felt right about them just kind of coming out, screaming out of the gates. You know, we're talking about Sam Darnold for MVP and you know, all this stuff that we're getting crazy with. And then they kind of crash and burn at the end of the year. Feels like maybe something that, I don't know if it, maybe something that would happen to this team, but does happen to teams, you know, I don't know about every year, but this is not an uncommon storyline, I don't think.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing for me. Like, you have them losing both games to the Rams. You haven't gotten swept by the Rams. So you think they're that much worse than the Rams?
Yeah, I think that there's a clear advantage for the Rams there. I think last year showed that.
Josh, you also have them getting swept by the Rams. You feel like the Rams are that clear them by that much?
I think it's more of just it's all comes down to Stafford, obviously. Like if Garoppolo's there, they're going to win both games. I'm just betting on Stafford somehow figuring out a way to be healthy. I think they're going to be super cautious with him and everything. And those are divisional games, so they're going to prioritize those for his health and everything. So if he plays, I really do think that they just like figure out a way to beat us every time because they have the passing game, they have the pass rush. But I do think they're going to both be close anyway, though.
I kind of, when I did this, I know Evan, because I watched Evan's win total go up and down. And the first time I did this, I was at 14 wins. And one of the things that I was having trouble doing is I was having trouble predicting a division loss. I believe Matt Stafford is who we saw him in like 14 of the 17 games last year. And the exact opposite of Sam Darnold, where everyone is focused on his last 2 games and forget the first 14 or 16 or whatever it was. Like everybody's focused on the last 2 Stafford games and have forgotten that he had like the worst statistical season in like 10 years last year. And Matt Stafford with a bad back, like I don't care if Matt Stafford's in or not. I think that the Seahawks with Matt Stafford without a bad back last year were the better team. Like I think clearly the better team last year. So I don't know. Like the thing that I'm most confident about with the Rams is Jared Verse is going to be an absolute game wrecker and can just like their pass rush is ferocious and they could just win a game with the pass rush. If you told me that was why, I'd be like, okay, yep, offensive line couldn't hold up. But Stafford's not it for me, man. Like I feel like that guy is way like what's the opposite of recency bias? Like yeah. Anyway, what were you gonna say, Jeff?
I was gonna say the pass rush is the thing I feared by far the most about the Rams. I think it's if they're gonna be good this year, everyone focused on Devontae Adams, and I think that's the reason. But the thing I'm still curious about is can they stop the run? And Seattle's team is built, they kept 4 tight ends, 2 fullbacks. They're going to be far more of a run-first, heavy personnel team. And look, we're not Philadelphia, obviously, but you saw Philadelphia ran for like 280 yards a game last year. So I'm just curious to see how that matchup goes because last year when we played them, the matchup played so well into that matchup where Seattle dropped back at insane rates. They couldn't run 3rd and 1, and they still needed 9 things to go right to win that game. So I don't know how that's going to match up. I'm just curious because they're going to look so different offensively versus what they were last year.
Did I do my math wrong? Did I? We need to check the.
Evan, have them just take a game off.
No, you have them going 14-3.
Oh, 14-4.
Oh, wait, sorry.
No. I think it was 13-4 because I remember my thought process actually during this. I probably just typoed, but because I started off with 14 wins, Brian, I was there. I actually did this exercise like 2 or 3 times. And the first 2 times I came out with 14 wins. And I was like, Evan, you've got to think rational, not freaky thoughts, like be normal, be calm. And that's where I added the Houston loss out of nowhere because I think it's going to be that dumb loss of the year. I don't really have a ton of rationale beyond that for that. But I do think they end up with 13 wins.
I will say,
who else had a hard time? Go ahead, Josh.
Go ahead. I was saying, going through the schedule, you really see how like good it is. People were saying how good it was, but going through that, I was like, I wanted to be pessimistic because I want to protect myself, but I was like, this is like you got to put wins in some of these.
You know who has the easiest schedule in the NFL by strength of schedule data? Do you know who it is?
Yeah, San Francisco.
Mm-hmm. It's the Niners.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Niners. Derek, you were going to say something?
Well, so that's both Brian and Evan. You guys said you had about 14 wins initially. Did anyone else like I could easily talk for all my pessimism? I could easily talk myself into 12-5 for this team. Like, no problem. I could talk myself into it. I did have to I had the same exercise where I'm like, 12-5. That seems a little high because the Vegas line is 8.5. So I think we should all look at this through that lens of
right. That's what I'm saying. Is like everybody has them at least 10 wins. What are the games that have to flip for them to be a 7-win team? Like we're talking about them losing most of the division games, maybe.
Yeah, the Rams and the Niners.
But also, a lot of these games become flippable if like Darnold crashes back down to pre-2024 Darnold, or Kubiak's system just doesn't, like the offensive line isn't actually any better, and the whole thing just burns. Like at that point, anything's on the table. Like they could win 6 games at that point.
If the game scripts get away from them and they're happy to play catch up, I just don't think they're built to play that way offensively.
Well, and let's be honest, we have one injury from JSN, cooked at that point. Because I know we're all excited. I'm really excited about Horton, and we're really excited, and they're all jacked about the wide receiver crew. But you lose him, gets a little bleak.
I think that's actually really fair. I do think he is uniquely above the rest of that room in ways that like if you lose one of the tight ends, I wouldn't say there's that much of a gap between the tight ends. Or you lose one of the running backs, I wouldn't say that. So I think that's fair. Might not even be as big of a gap between the quarterbacks. You know?
Wow. Brian, this is like crazy slander going on. This is Torrey Horton slander. This is AJ Barner slander. Now it's like K9 slander when you're talking about running backs. I mean, this is unreal.
I want to throw out this notion of, okay, but if they get hurt or, you know, whatever, like if they're just, if they have their guys, is it more that they just won't be that good if they're going to get to 7 wins, or is it that the 49ers, Rams, and Cardinals are way better than we think, or that Carolina makes a big step forward? Or, I mean, does anyone really think Tennessee is going to take a step forward? Like,
well, yeah, but
I mean,
Jacksonville
could maybe.
There are a lot of toss-up games here, though. Like you can count, I think, 10 toss-up games here that if they all go the wrong way, either through bad luck or they're not as good or injuries or some combination, you know, Niners, Pittsburgh, Tampa, Houston, Washington, Rams, maybe Minnesota, maybe JJ's good,
Arizona,
Rams, Niners. So that's 9 right there, right? And that's not throwing in a Carolina, a Tampa. I don't think I even said Arizona in any of those.
You didn't.
So it's in there for sure, but that is, to lose all of those like that would be, you have to feel like there's some kind of injury or just something has gone horribly wrong, obviously.
Well, the defense would have to be disappointing, I think, because I think the defense gives you enough of a floor where you should be competitive, because they had a disaster of an offense last year. Geno played great relative to what he was working with, but overall, the structure of the offense, just some semblance of average should bring. We all think it's going to bring them up, but if the defense isn't good for whatever reason, I don't know if that's. Then all of a sudden things could get pretty icky in every game Nathan just talked about.
We'll get into this when we get into the predictions. That's actually a little bit of I have this little sneaking concern about the defense going into the season, and everyone's just assuming it's going to be a top 5 unit, and I'm like, I don't know that I'm seeing the pass rush to be a top 5 unit yet. Like, I'm not sure I'm seeing the sticky enough coverage to be a top 5 unit yet. Like, I'm not seeing dominance. So I don't know. Like, I think like Mike McDonald could make that happen, but I think you hit it for me, Jeff. That's the part that I'm a little bit wondering about going into the season.
One more thing. Even if the defense is really good, we've seen the Jets, the Steelers, the Broncos, like the last few seasons, like some really stellar defenses there, and they're scraping to get 8 wins. So the offense does have to play its part here. The defense can set that floor, but like if they're going to hit this plus side that we seem to all think they will and get to 10, 11, 12 wins, the offense has to be clicking.
Did you forget how bad the Ryan Grubb offense was last year? And they won 10.
Josh.
Hold up. They won 10 fucking football games last year on freaking the Ryan Grubb offense. Okay, let's not forget that here. Let's not forget that. Why'd I go full screen? Did I quit?
Finish your thought. Finish your thought.
10 games we won last year with a junior high level football coach and Geno Smith throwing 47 interceptions in the red zone. Like, you don't think there's going to be like marginal improvement there?
There's room for marginal improvement, but like Gino's a pretty darn good quarterback, and Darnold has one season.
Not when it came to scoring like touchdowns, like sure, like the 30-yard lines, yeah, but like not in the red zone. Am I wrong?
I'll just say, I think last January when we were doing like the postseason show, and Josh was making memes about Sam Darnold, and we were all like, "Ooh, I don't know about that one." That's a reality now.
The best thing we can do is over time we just accept things, and then we create rationale. Like, okay, this is the best case scenario, and we forget the last game he played. I made an AI picture of him in a Seahawks uniform just to scare everyone, and then it happened, and now we're like 14 wins. Let's go. So, I'm with it too, though. So I'm,
it's all true, man. It's true. And if you look at this here, there's what is it? 3, 4, 5 of us. 5 of the 8 have us winning the Seahawks winning at least 12 games. Evan's got the most at 13-4. Dayna and Josh are at 11-6, and Deryck, the like bah humbug, the Grinch, is 10-7. So it's like that's probably a playoff team, even at 10-7. And in fact, Deryck's got them making the playoffs. So if the team actually wins 7 games, I want one beat on this, and then we're going to get to some of the other stuff, the prop stuff. But if they win 7 games, what does that do for the state of this franchise? Like, what is that? I know you can say, don't give me this, well, it depends on how they win 7 games. Don't give me that shit. Like, if they win 7 games after winning 10 last year, what does it say?
Schneider out. Like, that happens because the O-line did not make a step forward. That happens because even if Gray's Abel's good, like Charles Cross and Abe Lucas don't make a big step forward, or like the other 2 interior spots are just absolute turnstiles. And at that point, it's just like, okay, this dude has not put together a good O-line in a decade.
That's
plus,
how it is every year, though. It's like
I'm so glad Deryck said it out loud.
But except for the year where Russ got hurt, they've never bottomed out, right? They've been able to put together 8, 9, 10 wins. Like, if you do that and you win like 7 games, and I just said 8 is okay, but like, I don't know. I think there's big expectations that the O-line will actually be good this year. Like, they have a good scheme, and Benton in the run game has looked great in the preseason. This season rests on that.
Yeah, I agree with Deryck. I think if that happens, I think that's an indication that the players they've built around it. I don't think it's just the O-line. I think we've just been talking about this good versus great thing and for so long now, and they passed on Jalen Carter and they passed on Jared Verse. And if they're just the whole infrastructure of the defense and the offensive line takes a step back, I think Derek's right. I think it's just they don't have the horses to be a good team. And I know everyone focuses on Darnold. I don't think Darnold's a big part of their floor or ceiling this year. I think they're not going to ask that much of him. I think it's the rest of the stuff, the offensive line, the run game, the defense. I think that dictates the season. And if that's not good, I think there's one person to put that on, and it's the guy who's been really turned over the entire team since he's kind of taken over the team. And I'm with you.
Well, can I say something real quick?
Of course.
We were just talking about how we have a better roster than every other team in the NFC West, right? We said we had a better roster than Washington, who, what did they win? Like every game last year. So going into the season, we know we have a good roster. Like, I don't want to blame Mike McDonald, but if it goes poorly, like, that's on the coach, because we already have established that the roster is good. We can't change that once the season's over. We're like, oh, they're actually not that good, you know?
Well, we could be wrong.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. But like based on paper, we know we put together a good roster. I still don't think the O-line is going to be good, but we can talk about that later.
I do want to talk about that in a little bit. I will ask you this, Deryck. Who signed Stone Forsythe today? Was it John Schneider? Was it?
I do worry that like it's been Pete Carroll all along.
Yeah, was it? Like, you know,
what happened last week?
Philip Dorsett and Jamal Adams, and who was that? Was that John Schneider?
Oh, it was the Raiders trading for who'd they trade for?
Who signed Jamal Adams in the year 2025?
Kenny Pickett. They gave up a fifth for Kenny
Pickett.
Jamal
Kenny
Adams?
Pickett trade made me wonder. I was like, man, was it Pete that was behind all these ludicrous trades that like they way
I love
overpaid
Pete, but man, the evidence is not good so far. It's
not looking great, buddy. Not looking great.
What, drafting a running back 6th overall with a rebuilding team is not a good idea.
It's question. We'll see. And yeah, we'll see. All right. So let's get it. So I didn't say it. We should say where the season ends. Nathan, you have the season ending where?
I believe the divisional round, just kind of continuing the crash and burn theme there.
Did they win a game? Did they win a game? Or is that just they get to the division round, they would lose the first playoff game?
Well, I don't know. 12 wins probably doesn't.
It's only the 1 seed now.
Only the 1 seed would get.
Yeah, so it probably doesn't get you a bye. So I guess
you have them winning a playoff game.
Yeah.
Okay. Evan, you've got them ending where?
I think I put NFC Championship game.
You did. You started someplace else. And you
I did start
it.
somewhere else. And remember, I'm thinking calm, rational thoughts. That was my focus.
Okay. What did you put first, though?
Do I have to speak it out loud?
You do.
Oh, no.
I'm going to regret this so hard if they actually do this and actually make it. But I had them making a Super Bowl appearance this year. Big year 2 jump. I really did. Like I'm fully buying in to the offensive line being like a massive improvement to competent. Not top of the league, but like top 15. And if they're a top 15 offensive line, guys, and they have a top 5 defense and Sam Darnold is just kind of year over year what they expected, like they could win a lot of freaking football games, guys. They really could. Like if this run game is like top 10.
This is like the 12th year in a row where if they had a average offensive line, they're winning the Super Bowl.
They finally drafted an interior offensive lineman in the first round.
But they completely negated that by keeping the other guard position the same as it was last year. He erased everything we did this offseason.
92.1 Anthony Bradford.
I cannot. We've been doing this too long together. As Evan was talking about it, I'm sure all of us were having the same thoughts. I'm like, I can already picture the Real Hawk Talk in 2 weeks. And he is like, this team is awful. Fire everybody. The offensive line sucks. Like there's just no way it's going any other way. You're not allowed to bet on this team, Evan. You're not allowed to bet on this team.
I'm thinking about throwing down a lot of money on this.
Do not do it.
I don't think there's no that.
Do not do it. All right. So you picked NFC Championship. I also picked NFC Championship for where they're going to end. I think they're going to win a couple playoff games. Jeff, you've got them divisional round, Dayna divisional round, Josh divisional round, Braden divisional round, Deryck wild card. So you have them making the playoffs and losing the first game in the playoffs. Anybody want to editorialize? Any thoughts you guys wanted to add it to your?
Braden, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say the last half of last year. When the Seahawks were fighting for a playoff spot and the defense was starting to figure everything out, I do think that was a team that there wasn't many teams that would have been excited to see them in the playoffs the way that they were playing. I think they have the potential to catch the momentum, and they kind of have the perfect storm brewing of younger players. They have a lot of excitement built around them. I think if they can catch a little bit of steam in the back half of the season, I think they have a chance to be pretty dangerous in the playoffs and make a run for it.
I was going to ask Brian, Evan, if they're really going to the NFC Championship game, what is the one thing that drives them there? Like with the Commanders, it was obviously Jaden Daniels just being amazing. What is the driving factor that's going to get them to the later stages of the playoffs?
Brian,
you want to take that first, Evan?
You go ahead, Brian.
I mean, here's what I look at, and I think it's a little bit what Braden's getting at. Yet, if the defense is what it was the last half of last year, which was a top 5 defense by pretty much every metric, I think it wasn't even like a dominant. They still had in that last half, the Green Bay game, the Minnesota game, and they still were technically a top 5 defense. That offense was awful. Like, it was putrid. So if you're talking about adding a top 10 run game, and I think I'm not saying offense, I'm saying specifically a top 10 run game to that defense, I think you're going to be playing ahead a lot. I think you're going to be punishing teams a lot. I think it's going to look a lot like some of the past San Francisco teams and their formula, where you're talking about a 2,000 yard plus rushing team that people are trying to figure out how to stop. And Sam Darnold is super efficient. And like, they're like, how is this happening? Because he's only throwing, to Jeff's point, like 20 times a game. And the defense gets to eat. And Mike McDonald gets to get into his bag because they're ahead more. They get more third downs, more passing situations. He's able to do more, like, you're able to unlock all the things that he couldn't always do last year. So I think it's like I go somewhere between the Shanahan 49er formula and the Ravens formula, right? Like, just kind of this tough team to play, and there's not really like a bowling ball of butcher knives that you're just not exactly sure how to attack them. Because, like, sure, you can take away JSN, but he's not the one that's running into your face like Robbie Oots. So, like, that's kind of where I would see it. And I also just don't respect the NFC that much. I don't think there's a lot of great NFC teams. Even the Eagles, they're the best in my mind, but they're not unbeatable.
Can I pose a question for the group? May I pose a question?
No.
I think we're all sort of assuming that Sam Darnold regresses to some extent. What if he's the guy he was last year?
They're getting swept by the Rams.
I don't know. I just don't think that much about Sam Darnold. Again, I think he's such a small part of what this team is. And look, the Niners went to the Super Bowl in this offense with Jimmy G. And he was one missed pass away from winning the Chiefs. Matt Schaub was a freaking Pro Bowler in this offense. You saw what happened with Matt Schaub once he left it. He was a bum. I don't think they need the quarterback to do that much. I think what Darnold can do is fine. I think it's what Brian said. I think if they can't run the ball and they have to become a drop back team, they're just really not built to play like that, because Darnold throwing to lesser receivers and one pretty good one, it's not a very interesting team.
You guys are about to give me a panic attack here. Every time somebody says, well, actually, the quarterback's not important, I'm like, all right, 5 and 12. They're absolutely screwed. We're cooked. Like, I hope Sam Darnold isn't throwing the ball like 18. I mean, if you throw it 18 times a game, they're probably leading, I guess. But like, quarterbacks are kind of a big deal. And like, maybe they're going to Trent Dilfer their way to a Super Bowl, but probably not. So yeah, if we're going into this thinking like, oh, Sam Darnold doesn't matter, that could be bad. That could be
I'm not saying it doesn't matter, but think about Chiefs game. Like, look at the throws he was asked to make. That's not a very high degree of difficulty.
I think what Jeff, I think Jeff and I are both saying is, I don't think that the quarterback limitations are going to be what holds them back in the regular season. I do think that it could be the thing that holds them back in the playoffs. When you ultimately like face the piper. Like, Jimmy Garoppolo played in the Super Bowl not that long ago, and they almost won, but he also was the reason why they didn't, right? Like, couldn't make the passes when he needed to. Jalen Hurts, I don't want to get into this. Jalen Hurts, like, he was a very limited quarterback in the playoffs last year until the Super Bowl. Like, he ran well, but he was awful as a drop back passer through the entire NFC playoffs. And they went to the Super Bowl. So, like, I don't think you have to look back that far to say, if you're a dominant run team with a dominant defense, you can do pretty good things. But yeah, I hear you. All right, let's get to, we're already an hour and a half in. We will make sure we go faster. I don't want to keep everybody forever tonight, especially Jeff and Dayna, who are probably dying. All right, so we're gonna get to the prop bets, and we're gonna do this quickly. JSN receiving yards is the first prop here, and it's not a bet. This is just like our prop predictions. And Jeff, you have the honor, and it's appropriate with JSN. You have the highest proposed yardage of 1270. Josh comes in right below me with the lowest at 910. He's trying to price his way to a victory, this bastard. Okay, you two talk. Anyway, yeah. What do you think JSN wise?
You go. It's your boy.
So I just made the case that we're not going to pass, and I have JSN with the highest receiving yards. So something is completely wrong with what I'm saying. But I initially put my answer in, and it was like 1,005 or something, and I was like, "This is so freaking boring." So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to ride this JSN dominating the Packers practice, and he's the really one dude we have on this offense. He's going to have a big year. I'm just going with that one. I think this offense might unlock him.
Yeah, I think just the way Darnold was getting the ball out so quickly, I think just high volume yardage is going to be tough. I think he's going to have an amazing year, but it's just like in terms of the whole team's yardage, everyone's going to kind of regress in terms of receiving. But I also think that like if you go back through like DK and Tyler, because those are the best two examples I could find of like highly touted wide receivers recently, is that they had a regression after like the second or third year. They would usually have an insane year that blows them up, and then they would dip just below 1,000. So I'm just counting on that. I don't think he's going to have a bad year by any means, but I just wanted to see if I could bet on him having a down year like most receivers do in their third or fourth year.
Yeah, I had him lower not because I think he's going to actually be much better this year. I think he's going to be great. I just think it's going to be a lower volume passing offense, and I just think he's not going to have the counting stats that he might otherwise. Cooper Kupp touchdowns. We've got a range here from a low of 4, which myself, Jeff, and Josh picked, to a high of 8 for Deryck. Deryck, explain yourself. 8 touchdowns for Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, I just he's had seasons where he's really good, and if he's not injured like he was last year, then he'll be a part of this offense, and I think he'll be a legitimate factor in this offense. I don't think I was really going on a limb like super high. I just thought, hey, it's a good number.
Braden, you have him at 7. Any thoughts there?
I think he's always been a threat in the red zone. He finds ways to get open in the red zone. I think even with older age, there's still a lot of talent down there. He might not be separating from defense as well, but he's one of the best in the NFL at finding open zones still.
Yeah, I think that's well said. Who will be the second leading receiver in yards? So who will have this, not the second most receptions, second most targets, the second most yards as a receiver? This doesn't have to be a wide receiver. It can be a tight end, can be a running back, whatever. Interestingly, Evan, Jeff, Dayna, Deryck, and Josh all have Cooper Kupp. That surprised me. Dayna, how'd you come to that?
I think, oh God, I'm not being mean, but here's the deal. I think that they're going to use him at the beginning of the year before he gets hurt. I feel like they're going to maybe push that a little bit more at the beginning. I don't expect Cooper to stay on the field the whole season, and so I think that he'll show up second there. I also feel like we saw a lot of the tight ends blocking, and I think they're going to use them more. I don't necessarily think they're going to overtake Kupp as a wide receiver because they'll spread that out a little bit more between everyone. And Robbie Oates. Robbie Oates is going to catch some balls this year.
Okay. Nathan and Braden, you had Torrey Horton. Nathan, why did you have Torrey Horton as the second leading receiver in yardage?
Horton is Braden's dude, so should let him go on this one.
Fair enough. Good point.
Yeah. I mean, I've been super high on Torrey Horton since the draft process. I think he has a very special gift of physical attributes. I mean, he can stretch the field. He can run the entire route tree. I think he's going to develop and find a full role in this offense. And I also think you don't want to put a full role on Cooper Kupp in his age. He struggled to stay healthy. I think if you can have somebody that proves that they can take some of that volume off and add the longevity for Cooper Kupp, it'll only benefit the both of them. And I think Torrey Horton has a little bit more of the big playability and might catch a few deep posts or whatever that can help him pad the stats a little bit.
I think this is one of the hardest ones. I went out on a limb here. I went with Elijah Arroyo. The reason I went this direction is you look at Kubiak's offense. I think he features the tight end quite a bit. Their tight end was their second leading receiver last year. Now there's a lot of injuries and other stuff. I think Arroyo also, I think he's going to be a big play guy. I think Cooper Kupp's going to catch a lot of like 5 to 7 yard passes. I'm not sure he's going to be getting a lot of yardage overall. It wouldn't surprise me if he has less than 600 yards receiving on the year. And I kind of feel like Arroyo might be one of their big play stretch the field guys and have a couple 100-yard plus games. This is a total projection. It would not surprise me if Elijah Arroyo was their 5th leading receiver in yardage, but I decided to have a little fun. So I wanted to go against the grain, see if I can pick up one on the rest of the crew. All right. Which player will lead the team in sacks? This one's an interesting one. I mean, it's tough. It's tough. We've got, let's see. I'm going to stretch this out a little bit. There we go. So Braden, Josh, Dayna, Evan all have Leonard Williams. Myself, Jeff have Derek Hall. Nathan and Derek have Boye Mafe. Nathan, give me the Boye Mafe pitch.
I think he's the best edge rusher on this team. He's been productive. He's put up big sack years. And he's had like really hot streaks, which really ultimately you need. Like there's definitely a luck aspect to getting sacks. And I kind of didn't believe in Leo being able to replicate the number of sacks that he had just from the position he plays. So these two I thought though were really hard. Like I wouldn't be surprised if there's like 150 yards that separates the second leading receiver from the 4th or 5th leading receiver. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's like, 4 guys within 3 sacks of the lead. So I thought this was a little bit of a guess, but I just feel like Mafe being the best edge rusher, give it to him.
Anyone else have a comment about the sack leader? No?
I just think we have so many rotational pass rushers now that Leonard Williams is going to get most of the opportunities. A lot of these guys are going to rotate with DeMarcus Lawrence, all those guys. We have a lot of guys, so it just gives them more chances. That's it.
If Byron Murphy doesn't have a sack against Jacksonville, we have to have a discussion about him.
I'll say I think DeMarcus Lawrence is a dark horse in this one. I think he's a dark horse. Like, we'll see. All right.
I will just say DeMarcus Lawrence has not had more than 6 sacks since 2018.
Yes. Are you sure about
king
that?
of the cold water, the king of cold water.
He had 6.5 in 2020, to be fair. But 2018, he had 10.5. 2017, he had 14.5. So
yeah, but he had 4 sacks in 3 games last year. So what are you talking about, dude? All right. So Evan, by popular demand, has asked to have a live additional prediction added. I'm going to write this down for everybody. The question is, who is the first coach in the NFL to be fired?
Can I go first?
You may go first, Nathan. Who was your answer?
Pete Carroll.
What?
Are you serious?
100% serious. I think I got this right last year.
Stop it.
David didn't get it right.
No, hold on. Now hear me out. I know this is, it is a little bit of Pete Carroll trolling and hate, but I think I got this right last year with Saleh, right? And the idea behind it was not really anything to do with the coach. It's the franchise. They're gonna have a little bit of a rough year. They might not even be that terrible. And Mark Davis is just going to show up one day and be like, new coach time. And he's just, this is what he does. Like, this has been like a theme now too with his team, right? How many coaches have they had over the last like 3-4 years? This is really, that was the other one I was thinking about. But that's more of an organizational franchise pick. But I could see Pete Carroll getting fired like week 7.
I think that's wild.
That would be insane. It would be insane. But like, look at the person who runs that team. Look at how that team runs itself.
Yeah. All right, Evan, what's your answer? Oh, you're eating. I'll come back to you, Jeff.
I'm ready.
Oh, you're ready?
I've got a name that actually might shock you guys as well. I'm going with Zach Taylor of the Bengals. And reason being, they have missed the playoffs 2 years in a row. Their Super Bowl run is looking like a distant memory right now. And they have perennially started each season super, super poorly, right?
Yep.
They've started first 6-8 games absolutely terribly. I think they need to break through and prove that this year is going to be different. And although the win-loss record probably looks pretty good overall for Zach Taylor, I think patience is wearing thin with that ownership group. So if they start slow, I could see him getting fired.
All right, Jeff, we got to go a little quicker on these. Jeff.
Okay. I know some of you guys love this guy. The vibes are very bad around this team. I'm going to go Mike McDaniel with Miami.
Yeah. That's a good one. Dayna.
Same hipster homebrewer. He's out.
I think those are good ones, guys. Deryck.
Dave Canals. I almost want to say Liam Cohen because the whole Duval thing was like so negative aura that he almost deserves it. But yeah, I'll go Dave Canals.
Okay, Josh.
Kevin Stefanski.
Oh, that's a good one.
I think they didn't want Shador, or he didn't want Shador. Ownership told him that they're going to draft Shador, and now it's this whole mess, and they're going to blame it on him. It's wild. By week 6.
That's a solid one. Braden.
I think Mike McDaniel too. I think everything that he tried to put together burned up in his face quickly.
Those are good takes. I think I'm surprised I'm the only one on Shane Steichen.
No,
that's a really good pick.
Yeah. I feel like the Colts are that is a trash, like a dumpster fire before the season even starts.
New owner. That's a good one.
I don't think Jonathan Gannon's going to be one of the first to be fired, but I do think this is kind of a make it or break it year for Jonathan Gannon in Arizona.
How awesome would it be if it was Kyle Shanahan?
That would be so dumb.
My God, Grant would be so happy.
If they start off like 2-8 or something, or 2-7,
you gotta have Grant on the show the day after he gets fired.
It's a good. He's going to be on the show tomorrow, by the way, along with a bunch of other people. We'll talk about that in a bit. But all right, let's keep going. We got a few of these more to go through. Number of Seahawks offensive linemen with a above 70 PFF grade. They have to have at least 200 snaps. I've got 3. Evan's got 3. Jeff's got 3. Dana's got 1. So Dana's the most. Braden's got 3 as well. So half of us have 3/5 of the line being above average starters. Dana, who's yours? Your one person who's over 70. You're the most pessimistic. Who?
Zabel will be the best. Yeah, I think he'll be the best. I don't know about the rest. I think that they'll get better as the season goes. I think there's going to be some pretty serious inconsistencies there to begin with, but I think they're going to be fine. I just don't think they're going to be like good.
Josh, you've got Anthony Bradford and who else?
No, I wish you put something below like 10. Then I would definitely put 1. I'd like bold it. But no, I think it's. I thought it was like I'd say Zabel because 70 is good, but it's not like
it's not elite.
Insane. So Zabel, Cross, and then Abe Lucas if he plays a game this year. And all 3 of those guys are bound to. One of them, 2 out of the 3 are bound to get it. So I was like, all right, I'll put 2. But I even felt bad doing it because I really don't think the O-line's going to be good. But I think 2 guys could be good. But I don't think
why don't you think the O-line's going to be good?
I don't believe he believes that. He's saying that.
You think adding a single guard is going to change?
No, it's adding an entire scheme that hides offensive line historically.
Did you see the stuff Anthony Bradford did to this offense?
Yes,
you can just hide that by changing the plays around. He's going to be there regardless of what we do. He's going to be standing there next to Sundell, who also
Brian's
pretty unproven.
Best friend was a Pro Bowler in this system, so they can hide very weak players.
I want to see Anthony Bradford play against a non-XFL player and do well before I believe that he's actually going to be good at all. Sorry.
Well, that's probably why Nathan picked the first coach to be fired, because the Raiders starters couldn't block us.
Yeah. It's fair. All right. number of starts for Matt Stafford this year. Interestingly, am I like the highest? I'm the highest. I had 13 starts. Nathan, you have 2. You have 2? What's going on?
You have a sweep getting swept by them too, right?
I know. You was getting swept
Jimmy
by
G's
them.
going to beat us twice. It's going to happen. God, who was that quarterback that they lost to in the playoffs?
Wolford?
What?
John Wolford?
Wolford, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Forgot about that game.
Yeah. Anyways, good memories.
Thanks for that.
Back injuries are bad, man. And like maybe he'll come back and he might come back and look amazing week 1 and then just step weird on a drop back in week 2 and be done for the year, or get hit, or like go try to scramble and run 3 yards for a first down and then just never play again. Like I just, obviously 2 is extreme, but I just feel like with what his back is like or seems to be like, anything could just end him.
Dayna, you got him at 4.
Yeah, and I don't know that he's going to start the season. I mean, they keep saying that, but I'm wondering if they're going to be like, well, let's give him another week, or whatever it may be. So maybe he comes in week 3 or 4. I think they'll maybe try and limp him out there a couple of times throughout the season, but Nathan is 100% right. Back injuries don't get better, they get worse. And so therefore this is just a lose-lose for him.
This is interesting. All right, we're gonna fast forward a bit. So NFC West rushing touchdown leader. So NFC West, not just the Seahawks. And we got all over the place here. We've got Kyron Williams from Josh and Braden and Nathan. We've got James Conner from Jeff. We got Kenneth Walker from Evan. We've got Christian McCaffrey from Dayna and Deryck, and I have Zach Charbonnet. Would you like to hear my reason, Evan?
I would love to hear your reason. Oh, I'm not Evan, but I want to hear it.
How many rushing touchdowns did Zach Charbonnet have last year? Do you know?
Not
7.
off the top of my head.
He had 8. He had 8 rushing touchdowns last year with a tiny share of the overall touches. I think that when it gets into short, like red zone kind of things, I think you might see Zach Charbonnet be used more often there. And I think with a rushing team, I think you could see them rushing the ball a lot more for a lot more rushing touchdowns. I can see him having 12, 13 rushing touchdowns, even without being necessarily like the bell cow of the offense.
Okay, but who's Brock Purdy throwing a passing touchdown to? It's got to be McCaffrey, right? McCaffrey's going to be the only one that
Well, this is a rushing touchdown.
I know, that's what I'm saying. McCaffrey will be the only one that can get them any touchdowns because there's no wide receivers out there.
Yeah, I'm not believing that Christian McCaffrey is going to come back from Achilles tendonitis and be the same guy. I need to see it. And I'm not believing that the 49ers offensive line with 10,000-year-old left tackle Trent Williams is going to last the season. Like I don't believe that offense is going to be nearly as good as people seem to think it's going to be. All right, so let's keep going. NFC West passing touchdown leader. So who's going to throw the most passing touchdowns? I think at some point Dayna thought it was going to be Jackson Smith and Jigba.
I was tired. I was really tired when I filled it out. Like, to your point, you said, what does he have? 35 yards.
Oh, he averaged 35 yards per attempt last year.
Right.
It's true. He threw that Hail Mary. He also had a couple nice little laterals too. So my goodness, you guys are giving me shit for being homerish. Evan, Nathan, and Josh have Sam Darnold leading the NFC West in passing touchdowns. What is going on?
Why is that shocking?
It is shocking. Come on.
He threw like shocking. A million touchdown passes last year.
He did. He threw 35.
Also, what a garbage division for quarterbacks. Holy crap. Purdy, broke ass Matt Stafford, Kyler, Sam Darnold, maybe Jimmy G's starting 14 games if I'm right about. Like, man, oof.
I will say this.
Yeah.
NFC West did not have a lot of passing touchdowns last year. 21. Like the passing touchdowns leaders last year, you ever want to win a trivia thing with an NFL person that's an expert, just say who led the NFC West in passing touchdowns in 2024. Kyler Murray and Geno Smith tied. It was not Brock Purdy or Matt Stafford. So anyway, nothing against Sam Darnold. I just don't know. Like, I expect Brock Purdy to be throwing a lot of passes this year because I think they're going to be behind. I ended up with Kyler Murray. Dayna ended up with Kyler Murray. Deryck ended up with Kyler Murray. Braden ended up. I think that's kind of surprising too.
So who's the Kyler Murray lover in this chat then?
It's just kind of by default. Like, I don't think Stafford's going to play enough to really lead. I don't think Purdy's going to get it. So then it's Darnold or Murray. And like, if they're not going to ask Darnold to do a whole lot, then it's kind of Kyler Murray by default for me.
Yeah. I don't know. It was hard. I think this was a hard one to pick. We have the next one is Las Vegas Raiders win total. I have them winning 10 games. I'm bullish on the Raiders. Dayna has them winning 9. Evan's got him winning 5. Braden and Josh at 6.
I want to be very clear about something. I am actively rooting for every single football team that plays the Oakland Raiders this year. I have been radicalized.
So none of them.
I have been radicalized by a very small group of vocal but obnoxiously loud fans in this Seahawks fan base. Whatever team the Raiders are playing on Sunday, I am buying that team opponent's jersey on Friday, and I am showing up on Sunday. Number 1 Raider hater. I do not care. I hope they win.
XL.
What was that?
Youth XL.
I can't fit in that anymore.
It's a hack. It's a hack.
Not anymore, unfortunately.
All right. Sam Darnold passer rating over under 95. Everybody was over except for Josh. Josh. So Josh, you've got him leading the NFC West in passing touchdowns, but being under 95 in passer rating.
It's gonna be a crazy year. No, I think he just the lasting memory I have of him is in that playoff game, and I want to be proven otherwise that he can be the old Sam Darnold. So that's honestly the whole reason I did that.
He did throw a lot of interceptions last year too, to be fair, which does detract on passer rating.
So all right, keeping going. Seahawks all-pro players. First or second team counts. So they can be first or second team all-pros. I had Robbie Oots, K9, and Michael Dixon. Evan had Leonard Williams, Devin Witherspoon, Gray Zabel. Not Jason Myers, by the way. Jeff had Spoon, Leonard Williams, JSN, and Julian Love. 4 all-pro players. Nathan had none, which I think is a totally reasonable. Dayna had none. They had none last year, by the way, is the correct answer. I don't think Leonard Williams even got second team all-pro last year. It's crazy. Derek's got Leonard Williams. Josh has JSN, Spoon, Leonard, and Charles Cross. He's got 4 as well. And then Braden's got Robbie Oots, Spoon, and Michael Dixon. So I think we almost.
Do they have a fullback slot on the all-pro team?
That's why Patrick Ricard and Kyle Juszczyk get all-pro every year.
I feel like that vote is so like name status though. It's going to be hard for Oots to get in.
Oh, he's gonna do it.
And no one nationally can pronounce his name. Like, it's disaster.
Yeah.
They try to say it. I heard Jordan Rodriguez call him like outs. It was pretty painful.
It's pretty bad. I'll say this: if they have 4 all-pros, it's going to be a good year.
If I had to put my like mortgage on it, I would go with Nathan's pick. But I want to have fun.
Yeah.
Okay, but if 2 of the all-pros are Oots and Dixon, then that's like.
Does that count?
That doesn't really count. It's like 4 all-pros.
Wait. Hold up. Can you edit this in real time? Can I do a game?
Sure.
Can you add Jason Myers too?
No,
I want 4. I want 4. I want 4.
Do not let him.
No, I mean he's going to predict it. We might as well let him put a noose around his neck because he's got to have to be right now. All right, true, false. Abe Lucas makes the Pro Bowl. The obvious answer is true. It's like the easiest point to score on this. Dayna and I got this right. Everybody else got it wrong already. Everybody else
It's
is
a
fault.
name contest, and he's like been AWOL for like 2 years.
Exactly.
Is there like a minimal games played to play in the Pro Bowl? What if he
You
plays
guys are
0
gonna
games?
eat those words for the second year in a row.
Look, he was good. He was good when he came back. I'm not doubting that at all. But like, he was legitimately gone for a year and a half. From like, he wasn't even at the training camp. He wasn't even at the VMAT. He was working out at like his home.
It's true. It's true.
Was he good when he came back?
He was good. He wasn't
Compared
great,
to
but he was good.
compared to Stone Forsythe, yes.
Yeah, that's
Watch
just
his reps
right.
against Nick Bosa down in San Francisco. He was very good.
Okay, I don't remember. I don't remember any good offensive line moments last year.
Yeah. Well, that's another conversation. All right. Seahawks rushing yards leader. We've got K9. We've got two people, Dayna and Deryck, that say Zach Charbonnet is going to be the rushing yards leader. Not me, even though Evan probably would think I would. Seahawks defensive rank.
Touchdowns.
What's that?
You have him leading in touchdowns, though.
I do, but I talked about it being situational near the red zone, so not necessarily getting the bulk of the carries. Seahawks defensive rank in points allowed. I've got them outside the top 5 at 6th. Jeff's got them at 1st. That is heady stuff. Josh has them as 10th. 10th is the worst. Josh, why are you at 10th?
The lasting memory I have is that Packers game and the Bills game. And those were, I know that Bills one was pretty early and everything, but just like the team never really proved that they could, like our whole issue was that they played really well against like average to below average teams. But then when we got to like the bully ball teams, we just got pushed around. And the team hasn't really changed much. They added a few guys and everything, but overall, it's just time has passed is the only difference. So I'm just not. And what were they? Did they end up like you put like 15th last year or something like that?
They're 11th.
11th. Yeah. So it's just I can't imagine they're going to be significantly better. But I mean, maybe they are young. That's the one thing. But they got pushed around so badly in those games. It's just like I can't erase that from my memory.
Yeah, I think that's legit. Jeff, you got him at 1st. You're usually a level-headed guy. How'd you get there?
Well, I saw everyone has like 7, 5, 3. I'm like, this is freaking boring. Let's go with 1. And it's probably unlikely, but I don't know. DeMarcus Lawrence, I think what he can do for that run defense, and the problem the defense had, what Josh was alluding to, was they didn't really get to third down very often. And I think their DVOA on third down was number 1 in the league. And so if with what they can do with the run defense, with what they have now, and Mike McDonald in the second year, we've seen what they've done historically with teams in the second year. It's probably not going to happen, but let's say they're the best defense in the NFL. The weak schedule, they don't play quarterbacks.
I'm going to read out the next few really quickly, and then we're going to wrap up. So Seahawks leaders in interceptions. We've got Julian Love, Woolen, Kobe Bryant, Witherspoon, Woolen, Love, Woolen, Kobe Bryant. So a lot of the same people there. We've got Seahawks rank in third down conversion percentage on offense. We've got 14th, 5th, 12th. Nathan, you have them at 1st. I have to stop there. 14th, 15th, 16th, 11th. Why 1st in third down conversion percentage?
This is me just kind of like, well, if I pick them to start off so hot and have such a strong like run, maybe they do something exceptional. And maybe that's part of why they fall apart in the end of the year, is like maybe that's not really sustainable. And so they end up 1st, but that kind of goes the other way. So same reason as Jeff, I thought it would be fun.
That's fair. All right. Jaylen Milro rushing yards. This one's all over the place. I had 140, Evan 300, Jeff 143, Nathan at 82, Dayna 200, Deryck 175, Josh 63, Braden 190. I feel like this is the thing that could end up being like 40. Like, like we're talking about it, and then he just doesn't get used at all during the season. Like, that's a possibility. I see a lot of nodding. Evan, you got him at 300 yards. What are you picturing there?
I think there's a reality where he's starting a couple of games, and maybe Sam Darnold gets injured for a little bit or something. And, that the combination of that and using him in some special packages, he only needs to break like 1 or 2 runs really for, I think, to make this much more realistic. So I don't know. I just kind of threw a number at the wall on this one.
All right. Random
The
one
thing
here.
is he has to be active.
Yeah, go ahead, Deryck.
Like he has to be active on the game day roster. Also,
He does.
Which
And Drew Lock has
Lock's
to
the
go
real
down too.
backup. Then
Yeah.
Drew Lock is just there for like John Schneider's like sensual appeasement. Okay. He adds no value to the roster. Okay. He's just there by proximity. Okay.
I have to look that man in the eye like once a year for press conferences.
Evan, I've never heard that term before.
I made it up.
Appeasement.
But here's the thing. Am I
There's a
wrong?
reason you've never heard of it.
Am I wrong though? You can't really tell me I'm wrong on this.
I think Drew Lock is just trade bait for when somebody's quarterback goes down. They can trade him away to a team that needs him.
It could happen. It could happen. All right, last few here. Jalen Sundell's PFF grade. Yeah, this is the closest to pin. This is where we find out who thought he would be above 70. I have him at 76. Evan at 70.1. Everybody else is below 60. Nathan's at 58. So Nathan is not a believer in the North Dakota State Center.
I'd love to be wrong on this one. He had fun moments last year. I thought he kind of looked bad this preseason. I wasn't like super into it. So yeah. Okay.
All right. Final 2 here. Seahawks points per game on offense and points per game on defense. And so they were 22.1 on offense last year, 21.6 on defense, just to give you a frame of reference. I have them going up 2 points, 22 to 24. I have them going down on defense 2 points from 21 to 19. All right. So that's like a 5-point differential. Evan, you've got them going up 7 points to 29. That's like a top 5 offense in scoring. Say more.
I just think there's a lot of potential for a lot of things to go right this year. If this offensive line is anywhere near competent, I think K9 has a massive year behind this offensive line. And I just don't think it takes a lot to go right here. New offensive coaching staff, new scheme, Gray Zabel, Jalen Sundell, college chemistry, K9 being healthy. Like there's just a lot of, Geno Smith not throwing 57 interceptions in the red zone this year. Like there's just a lot of things that could go right. And I'm choosing to believe in that outcome.
Nathan, you've got the second highest point differential at 25 to 19. It's a 6-point differential. Kind of jibes with your predictions. Anything you want to add there?
I had a whole process for this. I spent time like looking at where teams are and like if they improve by this many points and put them roughly here. And I don't remember any of it now. But just know it was very scientific. And so when I'm right, I deserve a lot of credit for it.
You will get none of it. So in fact, people are going to say you were pessimistic somehow after picking. All right. We've kept you all even longer than expected, which I greatly appreciate. Any closing thoughts? Anybody have a closing thought that they want to make sure that they get out there about this season before we wrap?
Don't believe anything you see in the preseason. When the O-line is bad like it has been the last decade, you know who told you first. Anthony Bradford is who we think he is.
Daddy's home, 49er fans. Daddy is home.
They've been struggling with that one.
Interesting a little bit. I think that honestly, I got a lot of crap last year for not being like super Pollyanna about the whole team, but I will tell you, I'm much more excited about this year's team. But I think there's a lot to be optimistic about. And you can still believe there could be a lot that still goes wrong. I think they're kind of in that middle, but I think for the first time in a lot of years, I think there's a really strong reason to be optimistic this year.
Yeah. We do have some super chats. I will stick around for these. I'm not going to expect everyone else to. Anyone that can is welcome to, but I got to go through some of these. Vegas Hawks fan from Vegas, got my LA tickets, Arizona tickets booked for away games, going to see Pete and Gino against the Jags in early November. That'll be interesting. Saucy Sasquatch has given away 5 Hawk Blogger memberships. So has Space. Appreciate that. Detail Car Pro. This is for the entire panel. I can't put my finger on it, but there's something about how cohesive this team feels this year. Everyone seems bought in, and I think that can make a difference. Anyone have thoughts? I worry a little bit this is a preseason illusion that fades away when things get hard, but I do agree that this team seems a lot more cohesive than last year. Anyone else have a thought there?
They all seem to be like, there seems to be at least a common purpose across all of the players. Like whether this works or not and they're good or not, we'll see. I'm optimistic, obviously, but like I don't know how cohesive they are as like people in their interpersonal relationships, but just the team seems well built for what it seems to want to do. At least like all the parts fit.
Yep.
Like we can't get the feel like you're in the locker room, Brian. Like we're not, but I think the cool part is what Nathan said. Like the whole thing feels connected this year. It felt super. It was almost two teams last year, and especially with like the Pete guys, and we found out after. But like the way they want to play with like running the football, the way they're asking them to block, I think that's where Josh is missing here. I think he's only looking at personnel. I think that all connects with how they're trying to play defense. I think that is cohesive relative to last year, where it was really Gino go make everything work. And
Josh, you look like you're dying to say something.
No, I agree with the most part. I do think this team is more of Mike's team because just we're naturally a year removed. Like even just the Imanwari pick just feels so Mike McDonald. He got his two linebackers, like they seeked him out. We're just like slowly shedding that old team and moving on to like a whole new identity. Like everything about this team, even the players that were on the old team, just feels like there's a whole new intention behind the offense. And yeah, I agree with that somewhat, but I do think we're still like a year away from having like a true, like full Mike McDonald team.
Fair. Tony Bag of Donuts says Evan eating during a video is totally gosh. What's the word? How do you pronounce that? I always forget. Gauche. Thank you. That's the right way to pronounce it. Tony Bag of Donuts also gives away Titan Hawk Blogger memberships. Appreciate that. He also says Evan shoveling food in his super chats. Jacoby says, what side of the ball would everyone want to see win the game week 1 of the regular season? The offense or the defense could play really well. Which would you feel better about?
Offense.
Yeah. Offense running down those guys' throats would be incredible.
Mm-hmm.
We saw the defense is the same. We saw how good they can be. If they start off slow, we know they can get it together.
Exactly. Jacoby says D-Law will get the McDonald effect just like Clowney. Let's hope that's right.
But D-Law's actually good.
Yeah.
Okay, Dave.
Oh, I see. I got you.
Deryck. Good Lord.
Tony Bag of Donuts says, I see you, Evan. You can't hide it. Tony Bag of Donuts is really focused on you, Evan. So just so you know.
As long as he keeps donating money, we're here for it. So.
Okay. All right. Last super chat here. CP Mortimer, who's been a member for a year. Josh just wants to win. The logic will come later. I don't know what that's in reference to, but we'll take it. Who's Josh? Josh Cashman? I don't know. It's a really strong ending.
You want to win, though.
They do want to win. All right, folks. Thank you so much. We will be back. For folks that are really sickos, tomorrow I'm doing like a 6-hour season preview. I've got already 7 interviews set up with people from around the NFL to talk about teams on the Seahawks schedule. We're going to start bright and early. I will see you then. Until then, thanks, everybody. Have a great night. This has been another episode of Real Hawk Talk.